Welcome to the Special Finance Committee meeting of May 9th. It's 4 p.m. Let us stand for the call to order, stand for the pledge. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. Both directors are here. Any changes to the agenda?
No.
If not, I'll move the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public comment under this item, if there is anybody here. It looks pretty thin right now. Nobody online? Okay. We'll move to item 3, approval of the minutes. Did you have any questions about the
I
minutes?
did not. Nope. I will motion to move the minutes.
I will second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. We'll move to item 4, which is review of disbursements. I assume, take it away, Lori.
Well, I have nothing to point out here. And did either of you have any questions about the March? These are March disbursements.
Yeah, I looked through them, seemed pretty straightforward to me. Did you have
Yeah.
any comments?
I looked through them also and they look good.
Yeah, there's nothing unusual in here.
No, I didn't see anything. Okay, so that's a review of the disbursements. Item 5 is review of quarterly financials.
Okay. Why don't we start on page 22? We have the balance sheet, because I like to go over the next revenue and expense section. So the balance sheet is nothing alarming there. You can see that, you know, we have the pump station that we added recently, and then we have
Are you talking about pages 20 and 21?
at 22.
Or 22, okay. To the balance sheet.
Yeah, the balance sheet, we'll start with that. And then down at the bottom where it says 57,725 for the additional pump station asset that we have.
I lost you. Which page is that on?
22,
22.
22.
near the bottom.
Okay. Oh, yep, okay, got it.
And then on the next page is the new meter sets that we've had. And replacement meters also are in there.
Okay.
And then the trucks that we have, with the truck that we replaced. And then the projects in progress is the $1.085 million under the CIP line item.
I was on equipment, and then you jumped to where?
Sorry. On the next page is under fixed assets, the meters.
On page 24?
Is the other change, on page 23.
Okay, I'm
Sorry.
getting lost.
On page 23 at the top,
Yeah,
we have the meters under fixed asset, and then under equipment, which is the 36,000 for trucks.
okay.
And then the next line down would be the CIP, which is our projects
Uh-huh.
that are in progress right now, that haven't been completed, so they're,
Those are the, under 17, right?
yes,
Those are, the well is finished, so those would be the park and
park and the admin,
admin building?
yeah.
Okay. Because we don't have any, I mean, besides the pipeline they might be replacing, we're not doing anything else right now.
No, yeah, we're we're kind of in between a little bit on that. But it'll be mostly the Civic Center building.
That's first, so Civic Center will be the
It'll be
the
that.
more recent, the upcoming expenses.
Yes, but the ongoing, for the permits and the design and all of the things that
Right.
are associated with that, that's in there, along with all the park stuff that the board has approved.
Yeah, the park
Design
stuff,
and-
but
yeah.
what, we have a deadline on using the monies, a self-proposed deadline. It's,
Yes,
so we're okay still with that, even
Yes.
with the changes to the FEMA stuff?
yes,
Okay,
we are okay with that.
okay.
So then, unless there's something else you wanted to talk about in the balance sheet? we can-
Everything's going up, assets, fixed assets, liabilities are going down.
We have our reserves on there. So beginning on page 25, we have our revenue and expense summary. And we are 75% through the year. And the total revenue is under the estimated budget by 2%. And that mostly is water consumption.
It's only $21,000, it's not a whole lot.
That's gonna come up pretty quick anyways, huh? It's summertime.
It's 400, the consumption is $483,000 under budget at this point. But the water meter charges, which is our minimum, is 293 over budget. And that's because in November, we had that rate change, and we eliminated the tier 3 for consumption, and we increased the.
You shifted more
yes.
to the,
Yeah, so that's why you're
fixed
seeing.
to the fixed cost,
Yeah, so that's why you're seeing this impact. It looks funny on the budget.
right?
But overall, we're under budget by $185,000 for operational revenue. And that'll start leveling out a little bit as we get into the last couple warmer months. It'll increase a little bit for the consumption. And then the expenses, we're under budget there too by 3%. Of $370,000, so we are favorable by $185,000 for net non-operational income, or, I'm sorry, operational income.
Yeah. So
We're good.
that's not a whole lot, but it's a little bit. We're
Yeah,
not negative.
And most
Better
of
than
the-
being negative.
And most of the operational expense stuff has to do with, repair and maintenance, for example, is $180,000 under budget at this point. And that's partly because we spent a lot of time working on the new meter sets, the changeout program. And that's going into our assets. It's not going into our operational costs or the repair and maintenance costs. So it kind of skews it a little bit. And, but now that we're not doing that, they're going to start doing the line, the service line replacements and all the other things that were kind of put on hold
Right.
while we were finishing up the meter project. So that'll go up somewhat, but I still feel like we're going to come in under budget for the total year on that.
Okay,
Yeah, it's getting hot, so they're gonna be
yeah.
working on other things than
Yes.
line replacement, or,
Yeah.
they'll fix leaks, but that's,
Yeah. And the line replacement, the leaks and all that stuff are part of the repair and maintenance.
Yeah,
budget
that's-
too, so.
yeah.
So
ongoing.
that'll come up, but not, we'll still be under budget, I think.
It won't
by
be a
year.
lot
Yeah.
in a couple of months.
And then property taxes are 71%. And we're about to receive the second half of our, actually, we received our second half of the property taxes after this. In April is when we get or April, May is when we get the second half of our property taxes, which is kind of coincides with when people pay their property taxes and, November.
Yeah, it's
December.
two payments usually. So you would forecast, where is it? 1,013,000, is that right?
For which one?
For property tax?
Um,
And it's coming in a little higher?
So year-to-date, we forecasted 1.065 million, and we've received 1.2 million. But oftentimes we get a little bit more.
1.065 and it's 1.206, yeah.
Yeah, and then for the total year, we anticipate 1.6 million, which is the furthest column to the right.
1.688, is that what you?
Yes, for the full year.
Look at a total, look at.
And oftentimes we get more of the property taxes in the beginning of the year than we do in the second half, the second part, so.
But it's gone up quite a bit,
Yes,
$200,000. Is that right? Almost 200,000?
oh, I'm not sure where you're looking at.
Property tax revenue, it's 1.65 year-to-date budget, and currently it's at 1.206. Is that right? Oh, no.
You thinking a total 70? Where it says total 70 property tax revenue?
Total 70, yeah.
Yeah. And under the year-to-date columns, that's just up through March. So we're $140,000 more than what we would have anticipated through
Right.
March.
140. Okay, well, that works for me.
Yeah. And then under other revenue, we have our meters, which are, they were, meter installations were higher than what we were expecting. They've kind of leveled off.
It's interesting, though, we're adding, not a lot, but we're steadily adding meters, but
Yes.
water consumption is still a little lower.
Yes,
But it's the cost.
yes. Because we eliminated that tier 3, that made a difference.
Yeah, I mean, just, it's the cost of, the water and everything, so. huh. Conservation, we're doing conservation, right?
I mean, the messaging's still working.
More meters and less consumption. That's
Well-
gotta be positive that we can sell to the state.
Yeah, well, and the other thing that's happening with our new meters and stuff is that we are, staff is calling people when we, if it shows that they have continuous usage for 24 hours or more, it pops up on a list and they call them and say, it appears you have a leak.
So with the new smart meters, you think that the consumption, they're able to catch leaks and running toilets kind of
Faster.
stuff and,
Yeah.
Huh.
And if they're watching it themselves, because we encourage everybody to go online, sign up, so it can notify you when there's an issue. We'd like to think that they're doing that, hopefully they will, but either way, we're at least able to let customers know within like a week instead of 2 months, you
Right.
know, by the time, sometimes you know that that's happening.
right.
Because if the leak started at the end of a billing period, you may not know about it.
You're not gonna catch it right away. and-
Yeah, until the next billing period, and then it's.
Well, so is somebody from staff looking at that kind of stuff?
Yes.
Regularly?
Every day we do that.
Oh, every day?
Every day we're calling the customers on it.
So somebody's looking at.
Some customers appreciate it, some people don't.
Somebody comes in the morning and looks and says, oh, this meter's been running all night, and you call the,
Yeah, it's based
It
on
would have
how
just
long it's-
automatically alert.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
There's a report, and then so they go through the report, and it
Yeah.
tells if, how long it's been running without, stopping, and the volume also, so that is kind of indicative of what the problem might be.
yeah, little leaks, big leaks.
Yeah,
I found out I had a leaky valve from my water company who has the same meters. They called me like, hey, we want you to know that for the last 2 days, you've had much higher consumption. We think you have an irrigation leak. And I'm like, really? And I looked, I'm like, oh, I do, thank you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because I mean, if it's a larger volume, then it's probably outside. If it's a few gallons a minute, it's a toilet, or less.
And of course, here, everybody's got large lots, so they don't see it.
Yeah.
Oh, heck, no, you can, and with sandy
You're
soil,
leaking
it can leak
forever, yeah.
outside and you won't even
Yeah.
see it until
Yeah.
it's
Till you've got
month.
trees growing there and
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
It's so green out there.
I had something going for a month before I realized, and then I went out there, and there was then I could see it was wet, but the water was just disappearing,
When our
It was just
staff goes
sinking
out-
in.
When our staff goes out to try to help people find obvious things, it's the first thing they look for is growth.
Green.
Usual green.
I see your lot's pretty dry except for that little green patch you got over there.
Yeah,
So we're able to do some really good things for the customers too, and it really encourages, it helps with conservation as well.
yeah.
So. All right, so total revenue on the bottom of page 25, we are in good shape. We're about $700,000 to the good right now.
That is good,
Favorable.
too.
And some of that has to do with, we've been pretty aggressive about our investments and stuff, with taking advantage of these high yield CDs and all of that. So we'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
of it
it's-
in the back, yeah.
That looks good, too.
So on page 26, the other expenses are there. One of the things that skews us a little bit is our placeholder for the Chromium 6 expense. Because we don't, that's to pay for what we've already paid out and we're ongoingly, like well 15, for example, and those types of things that were part of that, that project. And so we make the adjustments for that at year end, but this is a placeholder for it because we're charging for it.
Right.
Okay.
And so the total expense is, it is $680,000, which is $680,000 under budget, which if you take out the 632, that kind of almost what makes that almost about.
Yeah, yeah.
And then total net non-operating income is higher than budgeted to date, and that's partly because of the lower expense that we just talked about, and the expenses that are not in the Chromium 6 expense, which is not in there yet. And then overall, the net income shows a $1.6 million favorable to budget, and of that, again, if you take out the $600,000, that brings it down to $971,000 that were in good.
And is some of that going to the funds? Or will it go to CIP?
Some of that is scheduled for CIP to help cover the cost of the CIPs that the board approved, and that is part of the rate study that we did, that the rates have to include part of that. So it'll pay for some of those things, and then it also pays for some of it might go for next year, toward next year's CIPs that are maybe more expensive than this year. So it's a collaborative over the 5-year period.
In the new budget, how much did we allocate for reserves?
Well, the reserves were just, we just approved those recently, and we don't redo those until after the year-end audit is completed and approved by the board. So we just did it kind of a few
That's
months ago.
September.
We just put a
October,
placeholder in there?
I'm sorry?
Did we just put a placeholder in there? I thought when we put the new budget together, we actually talked about how much might go to reserves next year?
Oh,
Yeah.
to replace the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that we've borrowed from them, yes, there is money in there, in the budget, to go back to replacing the reserves that we had borrowed.
But that's for the next fiscal
Next
budget.
budget, correct, yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so the next item is cash flow, statement of cash flow, and that basically shows, the ins and outs of the cash and where we are at the end. And then if you take that $13 million, for example, for water fund, and we have, of that, $11,225,000 of that is in reserves, is slated for reserves. And that actually was in the balance sheet on page 24. You can see the board, under equity, the board reserves are under there. And anyway, that leaves a balance of $1.78 million for cash, our cash balance. And then you have the different cash reserves, or the different cash balances in each of the funds. And of course, as you know, we've got some of that money designated, like, for example, in Parks. Parks has a commitment to the Civic Center project of, I think it's $700,000, and then they have a commitment to the park improvement. And then under general fund, it shows $4 million ending cash balance, and of that, $2 million of that is designated toward the
Civic
Civic
Center.
Center project, yes.
And how much of the parks is designated?
700,000 is out of the Parks Fund. 700,000 is designated for the Civic Center project, but there's other funds that are designated for the park
The
improvement
park
project.
part.
Yeah,
So the park's share of the building is 700,000.
yes.
But there are other, and how much of that 5.2 is designated for the park construction?
I'm thinking it was,
Was it three
I'm thinking it was 3 million, yeah.
and a
But-
half or something?
It's something like that, yeah, because part of it, they do have some reserves, but their reserves are minor because the assets they have right now are minor. But, so, yeah,
Yeah, okay,
it seems like it's about 3.5 million, something like that.
okay.
And I'd have to look that up because it's changed lately,
Oh.
because of the,
Grading plan and all that for the civic center.
Yeah,
There's
there's-
$116,000 more, but there is a parks proportional share of it
for,
the improvement, the additional improvements for the project.
The Civic Center?
Yeah.
for the Civic Center, yeah.
Yeah.
But it ties into the 14-acre site, which is parks, because that's where our borrowed dirt is, so.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, of this 5.2, there's a portion that goes to the Civic Center, but then I was
For the
trying to
park
remember
itself.
how much was designated for the
Park
park.
expansion portion.
It was,
4,915,000, but that is the 14-acre part, but also and also the small improvement project that we're doing right now too with ARPA funds.
Yeah,
Right,
the small
And
one.
the remainder of that is designated to, because we're gonna have to have matching funds as we get these other grant funds to be able to pay for that improvement.
right. But I was hoping that there was going to be maybe close to 2 million left in the parks because it's going to be higher maintenance. So we'd have a little cushion there. We'll see. See how much the thing costs, because
Well, the higher maintenance will come, yeah, that'll be out of the annual operations rather than the existing,
well,
yeah, when we get there.
the money's got
And
to
most
come
of the
from
stuff we're
somewhere.
doing, yeah, most of the stuff we're doing initially is fairly low maintenance, so it's gonna be a little while before we get
Yeah,
to
the expansion will actually help with maintenance because we're going to concrete more areas.
So there's gonna actually be less landscaping. to
We'll have
take
more
care of.
lawn, too.
Less DG, well, on just the small ARPA improvement project, no more lawn. It's just gonna be the same. Eventually, with the
Well,
portion
yes.
acres, when we get grant money, then absolutely, that's a whole other
Yeah,
O and M.
that's- Yeah,
Yeah.
the O and M for that is different
Yeah.
for the long haul, but that's, as we get the money and that's, but we have the matching funds so that we can do that. when
How
we need
big
to.
was the community gardens in that park project?
It takes up a space approximately the size of the grass area, but it's more on that back corner, a little more elongated. We didn't want to remove trees, so we've kind of incorporated a really pretty tree into that garden with some benches and a potting shed and
So it's that far corner over there, that'd be the northeast corner.
yeah, I'll send you guys the most recent rendering. We just got one yesterday from the architect.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to,
Street lighting is booming,
That's a big one.
government
At least there's some
Page
cash
property
in there.
33.
tax.
is,
Solid waste is positive.
so moving on to, month-end, aging report.
Uh-huh.
We are, where we normally are this time of year, a little bit higher, I guess, for the total balance, but it's typically around $800,000, total
Uh-huh.
for our aging report.
And it is 800,000.
800, yeah, 814, yeah,
Pretty close.
so. And of course, we disconnect after the second, after 60 days, so that's, so you notice the current amount is the highest of all of them,
Yeah.
at 550,000.
Yep.
And then next we have the open payable report. Beginning on page 35. There's nothing unusual in there, it's just what was outstanding as of the end of the month.
Nothing unusual in that.
And then, beginning on page 47, we have the project balance report, which is the projects we were talking about, CIP projects and stuff, so you can kind of see where we're at with some of those.
The only thing we still have going on is the new reservoir up here. That's the only,
Yeah, and I just got notification from HUD that they're funding our project and we're gonna start the application process for that one.
and that was 2 million?
2 million.
Nice.
And the
That should
tank's
just about pay for
2.6. Yeah, pretty much. Our match is the remainder.
Yeah. Well, we got a new well, we gotta have more storage, so there it is. Okay.
And then next we have the solar cost and credits report, beginning on page 50. If you want me to stop or slow down, let me know.
No, that's where I'm at. Where are you at?
Solar
Solar.
projects and credits, yep.
Solar projects and credits, so how are we looking today?
We're good. We actually have income on there.
That's good.
Yes. For so
It's-
long it was
it's in the
negative.
black.
Yes, it's in the black, yay. For so long it was upside down, it was like, yeah, it's doing the way, it's going the way it's supposed to go, so that's good.
A little bit lower than anticipated, but
Yeah,
it is moving in the right direction.
that's right, that's exactly right. Thank goodness.
Yes.
Yeah.
long as they keep giving us the credits, then,
Yeah. Yes, they've been really, they finally got that worked out well, so that's good.
yeah.
And then on page 52, we have the cash investment report, which we talked about a little bit.
Yeah, it's nicely laddered. It looks good.
Yeah.
The one that's coming due the soonest is the 5 million,
Yes.
the Flagstar Bank CD, that was a 2-year CD. Well, interest rates are still
Did a decent,
4.5% to 5%, so.
Yeah, they're still doing well, which is great.
So will you take that and break it up or leave it as a whole?
The 5 million,
Yeah.
we'll probably look at what, we'll be looking at a couple things. Number one, where we're at with, our construction projects, because we have to consider if we need to start paying on that. And, so that'll be considered when we're looking at our laddering out on as these things.
So you may go more short-term on some of that?
Yes. Yeah, we definitely need to do that, so. But in California class, we've got a good amount in there, and that's readily available, so we might be okay for a little while.
yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, that's the highest.
It's doing really well. That was a good program to get into.
Looks good.
Yeah, it's really it's really helping our operational revenues, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Our revenues, that's for sure. It's just really
Absolutely.
has made a big difference. Helps us to be able to fund like the Civic Center and things like that. So-
That's, well, and the money that's been borrowed, it's not really costing us anything, really.
Yeah, so far, we're okay there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Good. So we went through items 4, 5, the quarry financial. Item 6 was the solar credits, and item 7 was the quarterly investment reports. So we've completed all of those. Item 8 is the committee comments. Do you have anything?
No
To comment?
comments. Thank you very much for the report.
You're very welcome.
Ditto. Review of action items. Prior meeting, did we have any?
We had one that's going to the board in July about the new meters. They wanted some data.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's just carrying forward.
And the current meeting, I don't think we have any.
I'm just gonna send you guys that rendering.
Oh, the
Park.
rendering, yes, okay. That'll be interesting. All right. Setting agenda for the next meeting, which is June 4th, is a special meeting.
That's to review the budget.
That's the final budget.
Final draft budget, yes.
Okay. And then after that is July 16th.
Which would be our normal quarterly
Right.
meeting.
Okay,
Start the process all over again.
I know.
It never ends.
Non-stop.
Our auditor's here next
well,
week.
it's
Didn't we
the
just
audit
finish
that
that?
starts, and then that finishes up in September, and then October, and then we go into the budget process,
Come
so,
back for Christmas and it's,
at it
That's how it
again.
is every year. You barely get done with the budget, and then you go into the audit stuff.
Yeah,
So, yeah, we have our preliminary audit field work next week.
okay, I think that completes everything. Yes, you have a question?
Yes, in the Parks and Recreation, we have the fund number 22. Is that
Can you tell me what page you're on, so we can go back to that?
17,
Page 17?
or this is general question, did any of this have any idea of where the move will take place, or how that will be for the office to move to the new construction building we talked about?
As far as the funding,
Yes.
the funding is,
We're going to move to Sheep Creek Road. Where you pay the water bill.
yeah, that's the slot right next to us here. That's gonna be
We're breaking ground in September.
2 years maybe before that's finished.
Due to other parts of the park being built first.
Construction, because some of the material, dirt and materials have to be moved over to the new building, but the new offices will be first. And the parks will be ongoing, but at a slower pace, because we have received funding for that, the building part, but we have not received all the funding yet. You know, we're applying.
This year.
Okay. Comments, and with that, we will adjourn the meeting at 4:37. Thank you.